Hey, it's Dave the Butterfly Guy here. So this is the second part of my making maple syrup video series, and this is all about the boil. So we've been collecting sap for the last few days. I think I've collected about 30 gallons of sap, and our goal is to boil that down to about 1 gallon of syrup. So let's go, before we do start boiling, let's go out and collect our last bit of sap that we can hopefully turn into syrup later today. All right, been collecting sap overnight. Got a little bit here. I'm gonna just pour it into my collection bucket. And we'll start boiling that in a minute. I'm gonna go get one other tree. And my second tree also has some sap. Into the collection bucket. And we're ready to boil. All right, so to boil down all the sap, this 30 gallons of sap, I'm using this old turkey roaster. And I use propane. It gives me a steady flow of fuel for fire and roasted. I have this old roasting pan that's about a 6 gallon, it holds about 6 gallons of sap. You want to fill it up maybe all but 3 or 4 inches to the top, so when it starts boiling you don't boil over the top. And you absolutely want to do this outside because the steam and evaporation that comes off is sticky, so you don't want to do it on your stove in the kitchen and get that stickiness all over everything. So I can boil down about maybe 1 gallon to 1.5 gallons every hour or so. So to boil down 30 gallons of syrup takes an awful long time, and you just need to be patient. Another thing you want to consider is as this boils down, you want to add sap to it, but you don't want to add cold sap because that will kill your boil. So I have another pan going in the kitchen with a gallon or two of sap, and I bring that to a boil, or just about to a boil, and I pour in really hot sap into here so it continues to keep a good rumble. The better the rumble, the longer you have a boil going, it helps with the caramelization, it helps with the flavor of the syrup, it'll make your syrup bold, darker, and so you want a good boil, and again, it's gonna be 25 hours of boiling for me. All right, here I am inside, warming up some sap so it's hot when it goes into my roasting pan outside. Again, don't bring it to a rolling boil inside. It'll create all kinds of steam and evaporation that's sticky all over your house. So again, always put a couple gallons inside, so you kind of need two things going on at once. All right, so while you're collecting sap, and assuming you're not gonna boil every single day, I collect the sap, I store it in my collection bucket, and then I just put it in a snowbank to keep it from building bacteria, keep it nice and chilled. So I have 4 or 5 of these buckets around my yard in different snowbanks, and that's how I keep it cool before I actually make the boil. Oh my, that's a nice boil. You want it to be boiling like that. All right, so I've been boiling all day, and now it's all about managing the temperatures as you get down the stretch here. So sap boils at 212 degrees, but when you boil off a lot of the water, the temperatures rise. And when you get to about 216 degrees, which I'm at right now, I'm going to pull it off and filter the sap and try and get out some of those sugar sands out of the sap. So that's my next step. So it's hot. So I've got these hot pad holders. And so I'm going to pour it. I have it set up right here in my filters. And I'm just going to pour it in here. I need a little better system here. So that's it. I've got 30 gallons of sap is down to about a gallon and a half right now. And now my next step is to take this sap and go from 216 to 219 degrees. And that's the magic number where you have syrup. So with that, that's all I have for the boil. Join me for the finishing touches and bottling the syrup in my next video. Dave the Butterfly Guy signing out.